Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I went and bought more books. So it's not my fault. I did my summer books and then it got into fall and I was feeling something different. So I went and bought a bunch more books. I have 32 books to share with you guys today, and that's so many. So we're just gonna whip through them as fast as possible and maybe inspire you guys to go and buy some different ones. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. All right, so let's get like these summary ones out of the way. First we have The Summer Girl by Elle Kennedy, and this one I didn't actually plan to pick up over summer because I saw it, but then it just kind of made its way onto my bookshelves. So this one follows Cassie Soul, and she hasn't been to Avalon Bay in years, but she is going to spend her summer with her grandmother because her grandmother is selling the Boardwalk Hotel that they own, and she decides to spend her last summer there with her grandmother in this hotel. And she thinks that she's just going to hang out for the summer, have some nice, cool, fresh air, and she wants to have this summer fling, and she doesn't know how else to ring in her 21st birthday. And that just sounds like such a great plan to her. And then she meets Tate, and she thinks that he is the perfect fling for her. He is the fun-loving golden boy, and he is a sailing instructable and a lovable player if no strings attached kind of flings. So she thinks that he is the perfect candidate, but the more they spend time together, the harder it is for Tate to just see her as a fling. So I think this one's going to be great for summer. I think it's one that you guys should definitely try to pick up. Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan is another one of those books that this is the same author of Nora Goes Off Script, which was really good. And this one is another one of those summer ones that would be great for that time of year, so it probably won't be read for a while. It'll still be on my TBR. So this one actually follows Sam, and she has a doctor fiance. She has a great job in Manhattan, and she is going to spend a little time in Long Beach looking at wedding venues, and everything should be perfectly fine until she finds out that her long lost love Wyatt is actually back in town. So Wyatt actually broke her heart when she was 16, and she should not have any problems just kind of letting him be, but some things just don't stay in the past very well. So her and Wyatt start to have these reminiscent moments from when they were teenagers, and she eventually just has to decide whether she wants to stay an engaged woman with Jake or go back to Wyatt and see how their reuniting goes. Going by Coastal by Dahlia Alder is actually a book that I didn't even know existed for a really long time. So this one I didn't even find until September, but then when I found it, it was like one of the summer's favorite YA romances, and I had to pick it up. So this one actually follows Natalia Fox. She has 24 hours to make a very life-changing choice. So she has to decide where she wants to spend her summer. So she either gets to stay in New York where she lives with her father and try to get the courage to talk to this girl that she's always had a crush on, or she can fly to Los Angeles and spend the summer with her estranged mother, tries to heal that bond that they have together, and she actually meets a boy that she wants to spend the summer with. So this one is going to be really, really good. I think this is going to be wonderful because you get 2 summers, 2 different cities. Well, you get the same summer, but 2 different cities, and then you get to see which one she actually chooses and which one plays out a little better. Our next one is The Boyfriend Candidate by Ashley Winstead. I thought this would be a really good one to read in fall because it has this candidacy, running for governor kind of twist to it. So this one follows a shy school librarian named Alexis, and she is super comfortable staying out of the spotlight and being her quaint little librarian until she gets dumped and she decides that maybe a crazy one-night stand is what she needs to get back out there. So she goes to a hotel bar. She meets a man named Logan and they're hitting it off until the hotel actually catches fire. And in the mix of everything and this crazy escape, he ends up carrying her out of the hotel, and a bunch of camera people are already there getting the fire on footage. So she wakes up to all these pictures of her and Logan and this whole scandal because Logan is actually Logan Arthur, the hottest candidate for or challenging the Texas governor seat. So this scandal is posed to sink his career, is putting a tamper on her career and her job. So they come up with this, or his people come up with this fake dating ruse until he actually gets voted for in 2 months. So they have 2 months to fake date. And you know how everybody loves a nice fake dating, which is wonderful. The Roommate Pact by Alice and Ashley is my lovely Target sticker, is another one of those that it sounds super, super cute. It sounds like something I'm going to definitely really enjoy. This one follows an ER nurse named Claire and her roommate firefighter Graham, and they have made one of those long-term pledges. Says that when they are 40, they'll take a proverbial pledge together as friends with benefits. And Claire figures that's perfect because she has not had any luck in the dating world right now, and Graham is no way, shape, or form ready to settle down anytime soon. So they decide that that is great, but just as things in their friendship starts to actually heat up, he actually gets in a rock climbing accident and breaks his leg. So he needs her help to actually heal him and get him back to going. So she actually moves in with him. And then they make that pact where they're just going to be friends with benefits. He's going to get healed up. And then they start kind of, evolving together. So we'll see how that one goes. It sounds super cute. Someone Just Like You by Meredith Score is one of those books that I just bought because I thought it was adorable. And then I started reading about it and it sounds super, super complex. Like this could be a very, very good book. This is actually Enemies to Lover. This one follows Molly and she knows everything about her nemesis, Jude. And their families are super close. They should have been best friends, but they've just had this rivalry since they were little. They played pranks on each other all the time until one of them went a little too far in high school, and then they stopped talking altogether. And they are supposed to be helping each other throw this massive party for their parents. So now they are going to kind of get back to this feud that they have and start this war again, which sounds super entertaining. But then when they are planning this and doing these little spites at each other, they actually start to have this sexual tension. And it doesn't help that Molly is actually dating Jude's lookalike and Jude is dating Molly's doppelganger. So this sounds just super, super funny. Like, I've never read a book about two enemies dating people that are so similar in looks to their enemy. Like, that just sounds funny. Catherine Center's Hello Stranger also sounds like a really different kind of twist of a book, which I'm super excited for. This one follows Sadie. She's celebrating her biggest achievement in her life. She finally gets to be the finalist in the North American Portrait Society competition. But then all of a sudden she wakes up in the hospital and they tell her that she had an accident and had a concussion that is actually giving her facial blindness. So she can't actually detect people's faces anymore, determine who they are. So she is kind of struggling to get a feel for her artistic ability and getting back into her life. And she finally has 2 different guys that she actually meets kind of along this new path in her life. So this is a love triangle. It has facial blindness as a symptom that she's trying to overcome. And yeah, this picture is just beautiful. I loved Catherine Center's first book, The Bodyguard, so I'm really looking forward to that one. The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poster is one that I had on my radar for like all year long until it came out. So when it came out, I really did jump on it and buy it. So this one sounds so beautiful. So this one follows Clementine, and she had the worst day of her life, and that kind of just set her into this little spiral. So she is a book publicist, and she is going to stay practical. She has an aunt that actually passed away. So this is 6 months after this horrible day occurred in her life, and she is going to move into her late aunt's apartment, and she ends up actually seeing a man standing in her kitchen. He has a southern drawl. He loves the taste of lemon pies, and she just forgets all about her practicality that she has decided that is going to be her new life. So she starts to fall for this guy, and then she figures out that he actually exists 7 years in the past, and she is 7 years in his future. So this kind of puts a damper on their relationship, kind of puts a damper on her feelings towards him. It says her aunt always said the apartment was a pinch in time, a place where moments blended like watercolors. She also said that love is never a matter of time, but a matter of timing. And Clementine fears that she may be 7 years too late. So this one sounds just beautiful. It kind of reminds me of, obviously, The Time Traveler's Wife, but in a book, and I think that that's going to turn out really beautifully. Tessa Bailey's Unfortunately Yours is another one that I ended up picking up recently. This one follows Natalie. She just lost her job and her fiance, and she is ready to kind of get back on her feet and start this new business venture that she wants, but she needs her trust fund in order to do that. And her trust fund actually has a clause in it that says that she has to be married in order to take it out on a loan kind of circumstances. And she decides that the only way she can really do that is if she gets the help from August. August, her kind of nemesis, she decides that if she proposes to him, then maybe they can just make this work and get the money that she needs. So she goes, proposes this proposition to him that they get married. They live together for a few weeks so that they can actually get this business, or her trust fund, so she can get her business going. So losing my train of thought. Her business going. And August is perfectly okay with that because he owns a vineyard, and it was his late friend's vineyard, and his friend was really good at making wine and doing all of this stuff, and he wants to kind of keep that going for him as kind of a tribute to his friend. So, but he knows nothing about wine. His tasting room is empty. His wine tastes gross. He's kind of lost. He needs a loan so that he can make everything better, and so that this business of his that he kind of took over actually grows. So they're kind of both in the same spot. They need those loans. They need that money, but no bank's going to give him a loan unless he has a wife as well that can kind of help him out. So they're going to go on this little venture together and obviously start having feelings for each other because they're already attracted to each other. It just turns into little nabs and jabs at each other instead. So we'll see how that one goes. The Lucky List by Rachel Lippincott is actually the author of 5 Feet Apart. This cover got changed. So it used to be a different cover with like a big flower on it. And I saw it, but I never picked it up. Then it changed to this one. And I was like, oh, I've never seen that book before. So I picked it up and completely did not know that it was the same book until I added it to my Goodreads list and saw that the cover was changed. So I was like, oh, okay, well, let's see what it's about. So this one actually sounds really beautiful now that I've actually since I bought it and actually read about it. So this one follows Emily and her mom were always lucky. So every month they take their lucky quarter and they dominate a competitive bingo night. And this was just their thing until she says that her luck ran out 3 years ago when her mom actually succumbed to cancer and passed away. So she is spending this summer before her senior year, and she finds out that her dad is actually going to sell their house and get rid of it, and he wants her to spend time with his best friend's daughter, Blake, and kind of go through her mother's things and slowly get rid of things. So that is what they're doing when she finds a summer lucky list, her mom's senior year bucket list. It says Emily finds her lucky list. Her mom's senior year bucket list buried in the back of her closet. So Emily and Blake kind of take it upon themselves to start doing these incredible and scary and exciting and intimidating tasks for Emily to finish this bucket list that her mother made her. And she starts having actual feelings for Blake in the process. She starts feeling like she's closer to her mother, but then she has to see if she wants to embark on this new adventure with Blake and kind of let a different side of herself out that she never got to share with her mother. So that one sounds like it's going to be really sweet. It sounds like it's going to be a really hard read possibly in some spots, but I think it's definitely going to be worth it. Once More with Feeling by Alyssa Sussman is another book that I just thought the cover was super, super cute. And I was like, okay, this one could be really good. So we picked it up. This one says a former pop star finds herself back in the spotlight along with an old flame. In this friends to lovers meets enemies to lovers story. So this one sounds like it's going to be super good. It has like that pop star thing. It has enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, all the things that sound just absolutely wonderful. The Love Hypothesis by Allie Hazelwood is our next one, and I absolutely love Allie Hazelwood. I give all of her books that I ever read a 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely love The Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain, so I have really, really high hopes for this one as well. So this one follows a theoretical physicist, Elsie, and her many lives have finally caught up with her. In the day, she is a professor. She is all over the place. And at night, she is actually a fake girlfriend. She uses her people-pleasing abilities that she has to kind of be whatever her clients need her to be in that given night. So that gives her the extra money. She really wants her dream job at MIT. And she finally discovers that Jack Smith is an annoying, attractive, and arrogant older brother to one of her favorite clients, and it turns out that he's actually the cold-hearted experimental scientist who ruined her mentor's career, and he is actually the same Jack Smith that rules over the physics department at MIT. So he is the only thing standing in front of Elsie and her dream job. So she decides that she's going to have this all-out war with him, and she is going to fight for this job until they start actually having these long looks at each other, and she figures out that he's actually a little nicer than a lot of people think he is, and they start figuring out that they can be kind of themselves around each other, and she doesn't have to dumb down her life. She can be this physicist that she is and not pretend to be other women when she's with him. So I cannot wait, obviously, to read that one. Another one that has been everywhere that I can't wait to read is Icebreakers by Hannah Grace. I really want to jump right into this one. This one sounds really good. So this one is about Anastasia, and she has worked super, super hard to get on Team USA. So she actually goes to the University of California in Maple Hills so that she can have a shot at getting on Team USA for figure skating. And that sounds all fine and dandy until she meets Nate. And Nate is the hockey coach, or the hockey team captain for the University of California. And somehow along the lines, faculty got their times mixed up, and now they actually have to share the ice for practices. So Nate is all for it. He wants just his players to be on the ice as long as they can and get their time. Anastasia is a different kind of person. She's very headstrong. She does not think that she doesn't care about hockey. All she wants is her career. And then something happens to her partner, and she actually has to look to Nate to actually take his place in figure skating. So Nate goes along with it. He's okay with helping her out, and then their relationship just kind of blossoms from there. And she does not think that she could fall for a hockey player, but the world has different stories for her. Charlotte Isles Is Not a Detective by Katie Siegel is one that sounds like Nancy Drew, and I really love that show. This one says it is a new mystery series based on the TikTok web show. This one follows Charlotte, and she was a really good kid detective, making her kind of a little celebrity when she was younger. And then she decided that in middle school that she didn't want to be this person anymore. So now that she's in high school, she's kind of all over the place. Her love life doesn't really go anywhere. She's looking for a job. She has her little office that she created in her mom's garage. And all of a sudden that little blue phone rings. It's in her office, and someone is asking her for help. So she decides that maybe she will take another crack at being a detective, but it's a little harder now that she's an adult because all of those people, those villains, those killers, those kidnappers kind of see her more as a threat than this little kid that's trying to crack a case. So she is thrown back into this mystery of a serial killer, and there's dead bodies, missing persons, and villains, and she is eager to kind of use these detective skills that she created when she was younger to try to save these people and be a hero again. But now she is actually facing someone who might actually think she is such a threat that they are ready to take her out before she cracks the case. So I think that one sounds really, really good. Arsenic and Adobo by Mila+Ains. I know I'm saying her name wrong. I apologize. And then there's Homicide and Halo Halo. So I picked up both of these. I actually think I'm going to pick up the next ones in this series as well because they just sound so good. This is a culinary cozy series full of sharp humor and delectable dishes. One of which might just be a killer. So these ones sounds just so like nice and charming and cozy of a mystery. And it has a little dog, it has food involved, and I can't wait to get into these. This one is about Lila, and she moves back home to recover from a horrible breakup. She is tasked to kind of help save her Rosie's failing restaurant, and she has to deal with all of her matchmaking aunties that want to show her love and judgment. But a notoriously nasty food critic, which also happens to be her ex-boyfriend, ends up dead after confronting her. So now she has the police thinking that she is definitely the killer. They're not really looking at anybody else. And they have their landlord that's threatening to kick them out and sell their storefront. So she has to kind of take it upon herself to actually figure out who really killed her ex-boyfriend and this food critic. So I can't wait to jump into those. I think they're going to be cozy. I think they're going to be nice and warm and just wonderful for this season. Staying on that kind of a topic, I also picked up Murder is a Piece of Cake and 2 parts sugar, 1 part murder by Valerie Burns. I saw these on Amazon and when I was picking up Arsenic and Adobo, And they just looked so cute, like with the little dog and the baking and the rest in peace and like this mess of a person. Like, so I thought that it would be probably perfect for this time of year also. And I thought it would probably go kind of like Arsenic and Adobe, where it was just these little cozy little stories. So this one actually follows Maddie, and she is a social media influencer. She was engaged and she was going to live stream her entire wedding, and then she was left at the altar. So she was actually very surprised because her life was going really great, and then everything kind of just took a downfall right away. So she kind of took a stop from social media for a little while because that was super embarrassing, obviously. And then she gets a surprise inheritance. But to get this money, she has to live in her great aunt's house, care for a 250-pound English Mastiff, and run a bakery for 1 whole year. And she does not bake. She does not know how to take care of a dog. She is just all over the place. But she takes this as kind of a break. She goes for it, and she ends up in New Bison, Michigan. Then all of a sudden, the mayor actually is fatally stabbed, and Maddie's fingerprints just happen to be on the knife that is plunged into him. So I don't know how this is going to go, but she is going to use all of her auntie's little best friends to help her solve this mystery and get her name off of that killings list. I cannot wait for that one as well. We have 2 more kind of mysteries. We have the Agathas, and we have The Night in Question by Kathleen Glasgow and Liz Lawson. So these ones are an Agatha's mystery. These follow kind of her take on things. So these ones sound super, super good. So this one follows Alice, and she is Steve's ex-girlfriend, and when he broke up with her, she actually disappeared for 5 days, and no one knew where she was, no one knew what happened to her, and then she just magically appeared again. So they kind of figured that because she had all this money, she was able to disappear and come back. And then another girl goes missing named Brooke, and Brooke is Steve's new ex-girlfriend and Alice's ex-best friend because he dumped her for Brooke. So now she is missing and no one knows where she is. So there's a girl named Iris who actually is Alice's tutor, and she thinks that she is just going to solve this case and give some information to the police for a reward. So she wants to use Alice's help and kind of figuring out Alice's story and where she went to try to figure out some information from Brooke. But Alice does not think that Steve is a killer, so she takes Alice's help and they try to save this case and kind of give Steve his name back. So Alice is really obsessed with all of the works of Agatha Christie, and she and Alice and Iris are going to use Agatha Christie's works to help them solve this case and figure out where she is. A Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I've actually already started, so I'm not too far in, but so far it is so good. So this one follows Micah, and she's a witch in Britain, and she is an orphan, or she was an orphan. So she knew she was a witch, but she couldn't actually come out and be a witch. So she just pretends to be a witch online, doing little videos, and then someone actually sends her a business inquiry to come and teach 3 little witches how to be witches. So she takes this job, she goes and lives at this manor. There are so many people involved in this book to make this book just super, super sweet and precious. And there is a librarian named Jamie, and he is actually kind of her love interest. And once she starts finding a new family with these people, danger comes knocking on the door and risks everything that Micah has with this newfound family of hers. So far, that book is so, so sweet, so I cannot wait to finish it. The Witch is Back by Sophie H. Morgan is another one of those books that I hope to find time to read before the end of this season. This one follows Emma, and she's kind of this wallflower. She doesn't really want to try to fit into the witch society. She's just going to do what she wants now. This all ended 7 years ago when the man that she was with, that she thought was going to be her future husband, walked out, disappeared, and then he strolled back in recently and decided that he just wants Emma back. So Bastian had his reasons for leaving, and even if he can't tell Emma what they were, he is now going to win her heart, and he is going to deal with a silly little dog familiar, a best friend of hers that wants to hex him, and all of these things, which sounds so cute. And this one says that they were actually in a contract to be married, and that was broken. So now we're just going to see if he can actually win her back. The next one that I am already reading is My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. So this one is so cute. I bought it because the cover was adorable and it sounded super good. And obviously because I bought it and I'm reading it and it's so good so far. So this one follows Cassie, and she is an artist, but she's getting evicted from her apartment. So she finds a crazy cheap room to rent by a man named Frederick, and he's super silly. He sleeps all day. He's out all night on business. He talks like he's from an old-time romance book. But he leaves her these heartfelt notes and letters and really cares about how her day went and her art. And she thinks that he is just this wonderful guy and can't think of any better roommate. Until she finds blood in the refrigerator and confronts him and is like, what the heck? And he tells her that he is a vampire and he actually has a proposition for her. This book so far is so sweet and so cute, and I can't wait to finish it so I can tell you guys all of my thoughts about it. Enchanted to Meet You by Meg Cabot is a Witches of West Harbor novel. So this one I picked up because of how cute it was and because it came out at this season too. I think it just came out in like September, I want to say. But this one follows Jessica, and she was a little love-struck teenager, made this spell that went horribly wrong and got a bunch of bad attention and was actually taken off of the Council of Witches and was not allowed to be on the council as she grew up. So this is 15 years later. She kind of does her own thing. She's not one of the big, cute, like one of the main society witches anymore. A man named Derek comes to her little cottage in West Harbor and tells her that she has been chosen, not necessarily to be on the Council of Witches, but to actually save West Harbor. So they kind of get together, try to save everybody and save their town. And then she figures out that maybe Derek isn't really who he says he is. But in order to save West Harbor and her house and her family and her friends, she actually has to kind of trust him and work with him to fight this sinister force. And she has to decide if fighting the force is better than saving her heart. So I can't wait to read that one. I have so many books that I still want to read this October, and it's just crazy. I think they're going to have to kind of move their way into November. Next one we have is Playing the Witch card by KJ Della Antonia. And this one sounds so good, like nothing I've actually read before. This one follows a single mother, and this is 3 generations of magic, 2 rogue exes, 1 tarot card deck, and the perfect recipe for chaos. So this one follows Flair, and she knows that magic is real. They're not necessarily just out and about as witches, but that is what her family is. She takes over her grandmother's bakery, and then she decides that she is not going to actually do her grandma's side business of reading tarot cards to people. But she makes tarot card cookies for the town's Halloween celebration, and it actually releases the power of the tarot card deck of her family. So her mother is brought into town. Her daughter starts obsessing with magic. Flair's first love comes back into town, so she has to deal with that. And her ex-husband who cheated on her actually gets cursed, that she cannot break that curse. So she has to attempt to figure out all of this chaos. And while she does that, she actually plays right into the hands of a very powerful witch. And suddenly she has more at stake than just the magic in the town and the magic in her family to save. So I can't wait to get to that one. It sounds super, super good. Another set of books that I kind of got really interested in this year, in this time, was baking competition books. So I picked up several of them that I need to share with you guys. So in the case of Heartbreak by Courtney Kay, actually follows Ben, and he has been making his mother cinnamon rolls at their bakery for years and years, and he finally decides that this year he is going to enter a competition called Make or Break, and he's going to try to make that recipe and all of his other recipes national, so that he can kind of further his career and not just take over his family's business. And he also has a crush on his neighbor named Adam, and he is a mechanic and a musician, and he thinks that he is going to tell Adam his true feelings on live television. And then all of his plans kind of get shot down, and soon he is on the coast driving to his 80th, or his grandmother's 80th birthday, where he finds out that Adam is actually there playing as the musical entertainment for the weekend that his grandmother hired. So he has another chance at kind of getting to know Adam a little better and telling Adam his real feelings. I think that one sounds super, super good. This one is actually a YA romance. Not Here to Stay Friends by Caitlin Hill. Actually follows a teenager named Salone, and she's feeling like she's just a background character to her life. So she decides that she is going to take the summer and spend it in Los Angeles with her childhood best friend named Liam. So she goes to Los Angeles, and then she realizes that Liam has actually grown into this kind of hot boy that she has this attraction to, but she figures that their friendship was more important, and just being attracted to him is not going to ruin her chance to kind of hang out for the summer and spend time with him. So he actually has a TV producer father, and Liam gets roped into being his assistant for the summer. So Liam decides that he's just going to take Salone along with him, and they're going to get donuts, get coffee and things for his dad throughout the time. But his dad is actually shooting a teenage dating show for a boy named Aspen Woods. So they actually have a contestant fall out at the last minute, and Liam's father asks no other than Salone to step in and do this production. So she thinks that this is going to be super simple, but then she gets kind of wrapped into the whole thing and starts kind of falling for Aspen. And Liam decides that he actually is very uncomfortable and does not like seeing her with Aspen at all. So their little drama kind of happens backstage, and then they start to figure out that maybe they have feelings for each other, and that is why they're having these kind of problems with the drama of the show. So that one sounds super, super good, like friends to lovers, and I always love a good friends to lovers. So our next one is Christina Lauren's The True Love Experiment, and this one I got my hands on finally. I just decided to buy the hardcover because I typically try to put it off, and then I end up buying it either way because I can't wait to buy them. This one follows Fizzy, and Fizzy is actually the romance best friend, the romance novelist of the best friend and best friend in the soulmate equation of Christina Lauren. So this one, she actually gets her own book. So she is feeling kind of lost. She's not kind of believing in the romance that she is writing about anymore. And then that is where Connor kind of steps in. So Connor is a single dad. He is a film producer or filmmaker, I guess. And he actually is told by his boss that he needs to do a reality dating show. And he doesn't know how to go about that, but he decides that if he gets Fizzy to go along with it and be the main woman on the show, that he can get really high ratings for putting one of the most popular authors in the romance business on as his main woman. So she agrees to go about it. She said thinks that this might give her some more inspiration for future books, and she tells him that she can do it as long as he puts her rules in place for contestant choosing. And she decides that this is going to be the perfect way to prove to Connor that that the romance that she writes isn't just these easy peasy things, and that for him to make a romance reality show, it's going to be a little harder than he thinks. Until they start spending this time together, obviously, and she won't need those other contestants, I'm sure, but I can't wait to jump into that because it sounds so, so wonderful. And I absolutely love the soulmate equation, and I think Fizzy was a really good part in that, so I'm glad she gets her own book. At the Heart of It by Tana Fensk is another one of those reality love shows, but this one actually follows the TV producer Katie instead of an actual competitor. So she is in heaven right now. She gets to be the lead on a new show series that follows her favorite life guru or self-care guru. And she had an amazing date with a book nerd named Jonah. So she is just walking on clouds until she gets to her Monday morning meeting and Jonah is actually there. So their love life has to kind of take a stall, even though it just started, because they actually signed contracts so they can't get involved with each other. But that is actually harder said than done because they find themselves sneaking around off camera and off set a lot, but the cameras have a way of putting everybody's secrets right out in front. So they're going to get caught and kind of see how that plays out with their love life. So that one sounds super good. Another one that I picked up is called Battle Royal by Lucy Parker, and this one is a super cute like baking competition reality show, also with a twist of royalty. So this one follows Sylvie, and 4 years ago Sylvie was on a baking competition called Operation Cake. She was a fan favorite. She was loved by all of the judges except for one of them, and that man was Dominic. So he was really quick to vote her off with her very first mistake on the show. So she used all of this publicity that she got from being on Operation Cake to open her own bakery. She puts a bunch of things on Instagram, so she got attention by the actual princess, and she actually got asked to be a judge in the next airing of Operation Cake. So she goes ahead and takes that job as well. And Dominic actually finds out that he is going to be a co-judge with her, does not like that idea at all because he actually can't get her out of his head, and he had a lot of feelings for her when she was actually on the show, chose to vote her out instead. I think was kind of a kicking her out because he's a grumpy. So he is actually the king's favorite baker. So they are stuck working together as judges of Operation Cake, and then they soon find out that the princess actually wants her to bake her wedding cake for the royal wedding, but the king wants Dominic to bake the cake. So they're actually competing for a chance in a lifetime to bake the royal cake. So this one sounds so, so cute, and I think that little twist is going to put a little damper on their attraction to each other. Accidentally Engaged by Farah Huron is another one that was around everywhere, and I never knew exactly what it was about until I started looking into food competition books, and I really wanted to pick this one up. So this one follows Raina, and Raina is treats her sourdough starter like a child, but she has a meddling Muslim family as well that she has to kind of put up with. So her family is constantly meddling in her life, and she can't stand it. A man moves in across the hall from her in her apartment, and he's attractive, and he's a Muslim, and he has a British accent, and he is perfect. But then her mother and father decide that he is perfect for her and try to meddle into her life. So she decides that he can't possibly be someone that she dates because she refuses to date anybody that works for her father, and he turns out that he works for her father. So that is a no-go. But Raina is then accepted to a couples baking competition that could give her the opportunity of a lifetime, but she has to ask Nadim to actually pretend that they are engaged in order to get on this show. So they are still going to spend time together, but in just a different way, and that will be her taking control over her love life instead of her parents. Rosalind Palmer Takes the Cake by Alexis Hall is super cute. This is from the author of the Boyfriend Materials, and I don't know when this one came out, but I feel like it's super new. I don't know. I'll look into that. But this one is a single mother named Rosalind, and she is in financial ruin, but she actually lands a spot on the Britain's Best Baking Show, and the prize money could actually do a lot of good for her future and her daughter's future. But she has a little bit of a crazy home life right now, but she's also in a little bit of a love triangle. So she has the competition, and then she has Alan, is well educated and parent approved, and he knows all the right things to sweep her off of her feet. And then she also has her shy electrician named Harry, and he asks her questions that kind of makes her question everything and makes her really think and feel. So once she is in this competition and she's trying to deal with two different guys, falling for Harry just seems kind of like a disaster in the making, but she can't get past how he makes her feel. So we will see kind of which guy she decides to take and if she beats this competition. And it just sounds so, so wonderful, you guys. So that is it. That is all 32 books that I have purchased within like a 6-week time frame. But in my defense, I had to shop for some extra Halloween-y books. So it was just that time to kind of splurge. I will definitely be back with another video in a couple days, so look for that as well. Otherwise, just have a wonderful Halloween and a wonderful October, and I will see you soon. Bye!